I am building my Vermont Farmhouse Junior from start to finish. But before I start, I want to add a back door. I'm going to show you today just how easy it is to modify your dollhouse, and all it takes is careful planning. Hello, my crafty dolls, and welcome to my craft room. I am Grandma Kitty, and I am so glad you're here. Now, this is episode 4 of my Dollhouse Kit build series of the Vermont Farmhouse Junior, and I finally said it right this time. I always want to call it the Victorian Farmhouse. I don't know why. It doesn't even look like a Victorian house. And crafty dolls, I don't even have the paint or the glue out yet, but it probably has a lot to do with my mind all in on the planning, because I'm thinking about paint colors. I'm picking out my wallpaper and the floors, because really building a dollhouse is not a simple weekend project. I haven't even painted or glued anything together yet. I'm still in the planning stage. So now if you want to follow along with me, you've got to go back and watch my previous videos. The first one, I show you where to buy your dollhouse kit, and I show you all the building accessories you need that don't come with your dollhouse kit that you're going to need to finish everything off. Then I show you the best tools to use. And then my last episode, I unboxed everything, organized all the parts, and worked out my floor plan, because I am going to break the rules and wallpaper, paint, and even put in my floors as I'm building my dollhouse. So everything looks really clean and polished. So make sure you are subscribed. You do not want to miss out on all those tricks that I'm going to show you. So today I want to show you how easy it is to modify your dollhouse, because maybe you haven't even thought about that before. You can add extra doors and windows. And what's really nice about Real Good Toys is that you can go right to their website and you can find doors and windows that already match your dollhouse kit. So I'm going to be adding a back door to my house. And this is the front door that comes with the kit. So I can go and I can buy the same door so it matches my back door. But it's kind of boring. I want to do something different. So I chose this really cute screen door instead. And this is by Mayberry Street. You can get this at Hobby Lobby, and you can either get it at the store or you can go and get it online. So that's going to be cute. And I'm going to be changing up my rooms in my dollhouse. I don't want to do the conventional rooms. So normally where the kitchen would be, I am going to do a laundry room slash storage room slash garden shed. And I want that back door to lead out into the backyard with a garden and maybe a laundry line. It's going to be so much fun to play with. So in the house, I am adding my back door to the lower right hand room, which would probably normally be the kitchen. So now we need to consider what tool you need to cut the opening for our door. And I've got 3 options for you. Number 1 is you can just do it by hand with a Craft Precision handsaw. And this one is by Fiskars, and you can find it at Michael's Craft Store. And who knew? I didn't know they had things like this there. You clamp it to your table and off you go. And the second option is to use a power jigsaw. Just make sure you use a very fine wood blade so you get a really nice clean cut. You clamp it to your table and off you go. And the third option, and the absolute best option, is to use a scroll saw. Now, I realize not everyone has a scroll saw, but maybe you know someone who does a lot of carpentry or is just very, very handy. You can give them a call and call in a favor. I'm lucky enough that my dad, Great Grandpa Kitty, has a lot of woodworking tools. So he has a scroll saw. So I'm going to be taking a little field trip over to his house a little later. But first, we need to measure our opening where we are going to cut. So now I am measuring for this screen door, and you can see that not all doors are the same. They're going to be different. So the dimensions that I use for this screen door are going to be down in my description box below if you want to follow along with me. So now we got to go do some math, and we are going to measure again, and then measure a third time so we can get it right. And because once you start cutting, there is no turning back. But don't be scared. I know we can do this. All right, I have my floor, my base floor for the first floor. There's actually different floors, so make sure you grab the right one. So here is the wall. This is the right side wall, and I'm focusing on the lower right hand room, which is going to be my laundry room. Usually it's the kitchen, but I'm going to do something different and make it into the laundry room. And you can see here on the bottom of the wall, you can have these little groove here, and that is to accommodate the floor. So the floor goes right underneath the wall, and the wall is flush with the floor. Here is my screen door that we're going to put in, and just get a rough idea of where it's going to sit. You can see it's going to fit flush with the floor. You do have that little threshold coming up about 1/4 of an inch there, but that is what we want. And now we just need to decide where we're going to put it. And you can put it right in the middle. I am going to probably put it more towards the right here. Now here's the screen door we're going to use that we're going to measure and cut our hole from. And I do have the dimensions down in my description box. So if you want to follow along, those dimensions are only for this particular screen door. And I do have other doors here, and you can see that they're all different sizes. So if you don't use this particular door, just know that other doors are going to be different. This one's much longer, this one's much wider. All right, this is where we are going to do some math. Not my strong point, but we're going to do this together. So we need to measure the inside part of the door. This is the part that goes in the wall. And we need to measure from this end to this end and from top to bottom. Now, when we cut, we want to make sure we leave a little bit of wiggle room. Here is one of those interior dividers and an interior door. And when I put the door in, you can see that there is a lot of wiggle room on each side. So when we cut our hole, we want to make sure we leave some breathing room so we're not going to have to be cutting and trimming later on. We want to cut this all in one piece. Now we need to decide where we're going to put our door. So here is the front of the house, and then here is the back. So this is the side we're going to be that's opened. And I really don't think I want my door to be in the middle. I want to have a little bit more extra room to have some furniture. So I want my door to be about close to the outside wall, but I also want to put a coat rack there. This is that coat rack I bought, one of my favorite coat racks. And I want to make sure that I have enough room to put this on the side of the door. That looks good. So I'm going to measure from the wall to the edge of the molding, not the inside, but the edge of the molding. And we're going to mark and see what that is. So that is about 2.5 inches in from the wall. So I'm just going to make a little mark here. So that is the edge of the molding. All right, so now I'm going to mark my edge here quickly with the ruler. All right, so that's my line, and that's going to go up to the edge there. Now, the bottom of your door is going to be at the base of where the wall meets the floor. So this edge here. This edge we're just going to ignore. This is going to be that groove to accommodate the floor. So we want our door to be above there. So I have a little mock-up of what we're doing here. So from the edge of the wall in, we measured 2.5 inches. So if you're following along with me, that's how far we're going to measure. And that is the edge of the molding on the door frame. Now I'm going to measure that little lip here for the frame, and it's about 1/8 of an inch. So I am going to mark where the 1/8 of an inch is. This is going to be our actual cut line. And if you're following along, so this little gap here is about 1/8 of an inch. Now we need to measure the inside of our door. So this is the part that's going to go in our wall. And it's going to be about 3 3/16 wide. So now we need to accommodate for our wiggle room. So I'm going to bump that up 1/8 of an inch. So I can have about 1/16 of an inch on this side and 1/16 of an inch on the other side. So that's going to take me to 3 inches and 5/16. So if you're following along, we're going to measure 3 5/16 out from this line. And that's going to give us a little wiggle room on each side so our door will fit properly. Okay, so our opening is actually 3 3/16, which is right there. But we want to add 1/8 of an inch, so that takes us to 3 5/16. So we can have that wiggle room. So I'm going to mark that there and draw our line. Now we need to measure from the bottom to the top. So we're going to measure from the bottom of the door. I'm going to go all the way flush to the bottom to the top of the inside casing there, and it's exactly 7 inches. So we're just going to add 1/8 of an inch. I think that should be enough for our little wiggle room. So we're going to measure 7 1/8 from the bottom. Now remember, our door is going to be flush to the base of the wall, and that's going to be the bottom of the floor here. So we just can ignore this little groove here. All right, so from the base of the wall that meets the floor, we're going to go up, and it's going to be 7 1/8 inch. That should give us enough wiggle room so our door fits perfectly. Go back and do some measuring, and I'm just going to mark the top of that inside casing, and I have a good 1/8 of an inch here spacing. So this is my cut line, and my cut lines. We are ready to cut. Here I am at my dad's workshop, Great Grandpa Kitty. He is really crafty, and since he's a little camera shy, I'll show you some of his scroll work that he's done. This must be where I get my crafty genes from, because my mom always says, you didn't get it from me. My dad just wanted to take over and cut himself, so you gotta let the genius work. But I assure you, it is really easy with the scroll saw. No turning back now. The cutting has started, but I think it's okay. I literally checked my work 10 times, so I think we're going to be good. All right, so you start on one side and work your way up. You stop and then cut along the other side. And then you turn your wall and then you cut the top. That is it. Super easy. It cuts like butter. The scroll saw leaves the edges nice and smooth with no need for sanding. Okay, let's see how we did. I'm going to put our door here, and we're going to get our wall. Put it on here, and look at that. Fits like a glove. Here you can see that there's a lot of wiggle room, some gaps, and those gaps, of course, are going to get covered up by our trim. I got my little coat rack here that I want to put up. Plenty of room. It looks great. Now let's see what it looks like with the floor. Make sure everything is measured correctly. All right, let's kind of do a dry run here. I'm going to put my wall back up against my floor. And we're going to see how this fits. And look at that. Fits perfectly. Open and shut the door. The door is all the way to the floor flush. There are no gaps. We did it. Good job. All right, my crafty dolls, we did it. We added this sweet screen door as my back door to my laundry room slash storage room slash garden shed, and it's going to add a lot of character to my dollhouse. It's going to lead out into my backyard where I'm going to have a garden, and it's going to be so cute because it's just an extra room to decorate and to have fun with. So next episode, we are going to talk all about paint and start painting our walls. And I want to talk about not using craft paint. We want to use really quality paint. So I'm going to show you where to get your quality paint so we get a really nice finished look. So make sure you are subscribed. You do not want to miss out on that episode. But in the meantime, go ahead and start thinking about the paint colors of your house. I am going to go full on girly girl, and it's going to be pink on pink on pink with just a little bit of blue. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.